For anyone who doesn't know me, my name is Will Angelo, Director of Security and Safety here at Dataw. I want to welcome you all. This is a very important presentation, especially for individuals that just moved to the South or into the Caribbean corridor. So we're glad you're here. Some things real quick about security that we'll talk about before I turn it over to Colonel Baxley is if you go to the web page, Dataw's web page, you go to the Governance tab up top, click on Security. And if you go down through the page on security, there's going to be a section on hurricane information. You need to go onto that page and read through it. There's some important documents on there that you might need to fill out. There is an evacuation intention. So if the governor calls for a evacuation, we're going to ask you to go onto that page and fill out if you plan on leaving or not leaving. You need to know either if you're going to leave or not leave. If you do decide to leave after you fill out that form, please stop by the gatehouse and just let us know, hey, we left the island, so we can make notation of that. We operate directly with the Sheriff's Office, and we will let them know that, hey, we have 100 residents inside the state. And then after the hurricane passes, we will notify them again, hey, we've checked on these 100 residents, they're all good, or we need medical attention over here, or what else we need. So that's an important thing. I think we lost it. They're messing with it.
We went from echo to left.
Talk again?
Check one, check two.
It's better than it was.
It's better than it was. I'll talk loud right now while they're fixing it too. If you go further down that page, you have hurricane procedures. That is this document right here. Pretty much tells you what we do here as the island, everybody's job on how to get people off, what our cleanup route is, what we do if we have an evacuation. We're going to lock the gate. We're going to close the gate, lock it. We give. We give the Sheriff's Office a key that they can get on this island if they need to. Most likely, they probably will not get on here unless there's a fire or something like that. Fire coming out to respond out. But once the storm comes down, they're not coming out. Okay? In the middle of a Category 2 storm, the Sheriff's Office is not going to come out until it's all clear for them. So that's why we take it very seriously. So read through these procedures that we have out there. At the bottom of that, there are several little tabs, and one of them is the Beaufort, South Carolina News.com. So it's BeaufortSCNews.com. That has direct links to the Sheriff's Office Storm Center. It has a where Laura will be sending out messages, pictures, and stuff like that of what's going on. It links to the Sheriff's Office for evacuation routes. So make sure that you know your login to your Dataw member network, your Dataw website. Don't leave here and be like, oh, it's saved on my computer, because I have a lot of great information on there. With that being said, with that Beaufort SC News link into the Sheriff's Office and everything like that, learning from past experience, and Colonel Baxley's probably going to reiterate this 15 times, listen to trusted news sources. Do not listen to your neighbor on Facebook who says everything's fine, come on back. They don't know what's going on in the rest of the part of the county. All right? We will lift when we're ready to bring you back. The general manager has the authority here on Dataw to lift it. Okay? So there's several things you can go to. There's pages on there where you link into the Sheriff's Office. You find out all their information. They're going to send out Nixle alerts saying, hey, do this, do that. When there's evacuations, there's a list of evacuation routes on there. It's all good information you need to know. But during the storm, do not, and I repeat, do not listen to somebody just on Facebook saying that everything's fine and there's nothing going on here, because that's just going to cause havoc. Y'all are going to try to come back into the county before the order's been lifted, and you're going to sit in traffic, and we're not going to let you back in the county. Or the Sheriff's Office is not going to let you back in the county. So please listen to trusted news sources, and like I said, it's going to be the Sheriff's Office, the Nixle alerts, anything on the Beaufort SC News that we put out. But we are only going to put out information that mimics what the Sheriff's Office is saying. We're not going to put out anything contradicting what they are saying. So please, do not just take it upon yourself and just come back and do anything on your own. Any questions for me before I turn Colonel Baxley. Yes, sir.
This may be better for the government. Nixle is a site that a lot of us use. Is that a good site to continue with in the effort that we have to lead?
Yes, absolutely. That's very reliable.
All right. Without further ado, Colonel Baxley.
Good afternoon, everybody. How many of you have heard me give this presentation before? Okay, not too many of you. Most of the message is not going to change, so thank you for coming back. I appreciate that. For the rest of you, how many of you moved to Dataw in the past 12 months? Wow. Take note of that. You said 12?
I said 50 when I was there. 12 in the last month.
Okay, 12 in the last month. All right, so how many of you moved here from somewhere north of the Potomac River? Everybody raise your hands again because it's the same river, right? No, none of you moved here from Florida or Louisiana or Mississippi. Really?
Mexico.
Mexico? Okay. Wow. Well, do you have your green cards? Do you have your... You might not get out of here. That's safe. Okay, so my name is Neil Baxley. I work for the Sheriff's Office, and Will just told me that he graduated high school in 1990. I started with the Sheriff's Office in 83. I hired Will at the Sheriff's Office, and then I watched Will retire from the Sheriff's Office. And I was still there.
You're a smart one.
I may make it a career. He's a smart one. I may make it a career. I haven't decided yet. We'll see. But I am currently the Emergency Management Division Commander. The Sheriff's Office has 3 divisions. We have enforcement. That's the guys and gals that go out and make arrests, work traffic, all that kind of stuff. We have the Administrative Division. That's the guys and gals that serve papers. They run courthouse security, school resource officers, serve warrants, and a whole bunch of other details. And then we have Emergency Management. In the Emergency Management Division, I have a staff of 3 other certified law enforcement officers, and we do emergency management duties. We also run the 911 center. I've got 43 911 dispatchers, emergency service dispatchers, spread across 4 shifts. And I've got traffic management. We currently have 86 traffic cameras, and we pretty much work the county under cameras. Have any of you looked at our traffic cameras? Have you taken the opportunity to look at them periodically? You've got one right out here at your stoplight on Highway 21 on Seattle Parkway. So you get ready to go to town, you're curious what traffic's like, you can bring up our website, go to the traffic cameras, pop on the first camera and know what it's like right there at the traffic light. And if you want to go left on Saturday afternoon, you can see that it's backed up from here to next Sunday. So you don't have not going anywhere. Word to the wise. Don't leave Dataw on a Saturday to go anywhere until after 6 p.m. because you're not going to get back for a while. But that's what I do in emergency management. My primary duty is making sure that the county, the entire county, is ready to face any natural or man-made disaster that it might face. Under South Carolina state law, each county is required to have an emergency management director. In Beaufort County, that falls in the Sheriff's Office, and that's me. It used to be that the emergency management director answered to the county administrator for some things, and he answered to the sheriff for others, dealing with the 911 center. And when he got ready to retire in 2013, the sheriff and the county administrator got together and said, why don't we roll those together, and the bulk of it is sheriff's office. I'll just give it all to you. Sheriff's fine. Then he called me up downstairs at my office that had a nice big window that overlooks the parking lot in Duke Street. He said, come to my office. Yes, sir. The sheriff calls, you run. You ever met the sheriff? When he calls, you run. And so I went there, what's your name, boss? He said, how would you like to have emergency management? So yeah. He said, okay, it's yours. And so I moved upstairs to an office that was half the size, maybe not even that big, and no window, buried behind 7 locked doors. So I have to use my little fob, click, 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 to get to my office, and then I have no windows. If I stay in there for a while, I don't know if it's raining or sunny, hot or cold. I have no idea. So I have a wall full of monitors with outside cameras just so I can see what season it is. My job is to make sure the county is prepared. My job is not to make sure that you are prepared. That is your job. I will give you the information, but it's up to you to make that preparation. Will just mentioned following good contacts, following good information. Take you back to Matthew 2016. We learned a lot about social media in that storm that we did not know, had not experienced before. Because what happened, exactly what Will described. We had a catastrophic tree event on them. Matthew in Beaufort County was a tropical storm by wind category. It was not a hurricane. Please keep that in mind. If you think how bad, if you were here in 2016 and you think, wow, that was terrible, I survived a category 2 or category 3, you were somewhere else. Because it was not here. The highest recorded wind in the county at the air station was 58 miles per hour. We had a thunderstorm last Saturday afternoon, had stronger winds than that. On Hilton Head at the airport, there was one gust that topped 80 miles an hour. One gust. About 10 o'clock on Saturday morning. Out in the ocean, it was a hurricane. Down in the Caribbean, it was a category 3 hurricane. Here, it was a tropical storm, and we had thousands and thousands and thousands of trees knocked down. And we didn't clean them all out, so the next one's going to do the same thing again. But here we were with all kinds of tree damage, all kinds of power lines down, a situation where we had flooded roads, Highway 21 up in Gardner's Corner, where the roundabout, the overpass on Highway 17, all that conglomerate mess is, an engineer designed it. How do engineers remember? Good, I can bad mouth what I right, they designed this. The road was flooded with salt water this deep right there for 5 hours. Northern Beaufort County was isolated for 5 hours. You could not go through that salt water. And it wasn't just one spot, it stretched for a half mile. You were not going through it for 5 hours. That is why we have to evacuate in all kinds of scenarios. Because it might not be a problem here. It might not be a problem in downtown Beaufort, but it may be a problem moving resources in and out of the county. And we have to do that. So, but people were on Facebook, which I am not on. Cannot stand it. But they were on it, and they were saying, oh, it's great. They were taking, they had the evil rectangle. Do y'all have one of these? I actually have two. See, this has got a nice sticker on it. You know who it belongs to, right? And they were taking pictures of their front yard. The sun was shining. The sun always shines out in the storm. It's wonderful. Come home. And we had roadblocks because you couldn't come home. And then thousands of people, literally thousands of people, backed up for miles. They said lots of really kind things about my mother, and I did not appreciate that. And about the poor deputies who were standing out there and their mothers, because we could not let them back in. And they were listening to bad information. So this gentleman over here mentioned Nixle. That is a very good. How many of you have Nixle, Everbridge? Everbridge brought Nixle. All right, so you need to get that if you're interested in following what we're doing.
What is this? What is it? N-I-X-E-L?
N-I-X-L-E. But if you go to the App Store, look for Everbridge. One word, Everbridge. Because they bought Nixle. And what we use that for is if we have a major accident on Sea Island Parkway, which only happens like maybe once a year, like maybe once a day, where it's blocked somewhere between here and the Publix for an hour or more, because we have no way around it. And it's a 2-lane highway. And some idiot always is going to pull out in front of another idiot, and they're going to crash. And they're going to be blocked. And we're going to have a big deal to deal with for a while. We broadcast that out on Nixle. We send the messages out. Highway 21 Sea Island Parkway is blocked at Chowden Creek Bridge. Yes, please be patient. And we expect it to be blocked for an hour or whatever. We don't put that out if we know that we can clear it in 15 to 20 minutes. So if you get that message, it's a major delay. You're driving down the road, you see a bunch of deputy sheriffs out. They got their assault rifles, they got their shotguns, the dogs are up on the lead. The helicopter's circling overhead, which is big, by the way, I fly the helicopter. And you say, wow, I wonder what's going on. Well, if you had the app, we put it out. Major law enforcement presence, police remain sheltered inside, or there's no threat to the community, but we're involved in a pursuit, whatever. We put that information out so you'll have a good idea to make your decisions. So that's what it's all about. Again, I said it's my job to prepare the county. It's your job to prepare yourself. And you do that with the information that you can gather from good, reliable sources. So let's talk briefly about the threats that face Beaufort County that are not tropical in nature. We have severe thunderstorms. We had a bunch of them roll through Saturday. It's summertime, it's going to happen regularly. You might not have seen it here, but we had so severe over in Port Royal Island, we had a couple of houses struck by lightning and they started structure fires. The fire departments had to deal with that. So you might not see it, but we're dealing with it. We have tornadoes, especially in the springtime. Beaufort County is prone to tornadoes, not very often, and not the massive ones that you see in Oklahoma and Texas in that area. But if a tornado comes through your front door in your living room, you don't care whether you're in Oklahoma. You just know you ain't in Kansas no more, right? And so it can be a problem. And we prepare for that. We run tornado drills. We do a school presentation to all the schools in the spring, and all the schools, the elementary schools, go through a tornado drill at the same time on the same day, so that our goal is to have all those kids go home that night and say, hey, we did a tornado drill today. And hopefully they have dinner with mom and dad at the table, hopefully, and they'll say, well, what'd you do today? We had a tornado drill, tell me about it. And yeah, we did this and we got under our desk and everything to be protected. They still do have desks in school, don't they? They changed everything else. I don't know. So we have tornadoes, and we want to be prepared for those. Do we have tornado sirens? No. Well, why not, Colonel Baxley? They save thousands of lives. No. Tornado warning sirens are outdoor sirens. If we were in this room right now, unless it was parked right out there on that putting green, you'd never hear it, because they're not designed for that. But if you were out on the golf course, you'd hear it. So the apps that we provide you with, those are the better sources for tornado warnings. And so we don't have sirens. And they're incredibly expensive to maintain. But they're not going to do us any good. We looked at it. We're in the process of securing them, securing funding for them, and we picked out the locations we were going to put them. We were going to put them at county recreational facilities and school recreation facilities, because that's where the outdoor warning is. And the funding fell through, it didn't happen. So, we have tornadoes, we have severe thunderstorms. Yes?
Quick question, so the island itself, what's the infrastructure that can support internet in times of potential danger?
Which island?
This is ours, Dataw.
Okay.
How's
What is the infrastructure? That's these gentlemen.
It goes out all the time.
So
You're relying on cell phone towers, your internet if you can have that, radios are another good thing. You have the weather radios. We have one in our office in case we lose everything. During Matt Irma, I think it was, we lost internet service on Ladies Island for like 9 days.
So we'll come back to some more. I'll come back to some more of that. But we're subject to technology, so you need to have different sources of how to get this. If you only rely on this, you're placing your eggs in one basket that may very well fail you, especially at the moment you absolutely need it. On a blue sky day, it'll work great. So we have thunderstorms. We have winter weather storms. How many of you were here for the Great Blizzard of 2018? How many of you were here for the blizzard of 2025? You go, what blizzard? I didn't have enough snow hardly to make a snowball. This is Beaufort, South Carolina, folks. It doesn't snow here. And we have 29 state-owned or county-owned bridges and hundreds of causeways that once they get iced over, I don't care if you are from New Hampshire and your first crib had skis on it. You're not going to go up the back tier bridge when it's got a half-inch ice on it. It's just not going to happen. And that's what paralyzes. We have to wait until the bridges thaw so that we can resume traveling again. So we have to prepare for that. We have warning shelters. We have agreements with churches north and south of the Broad River to establish warning shelters in the event that happens. They are located strategically so that you don't have to cross a major bridge to get to them. So that if we had a winter storm that knocked out power for an extensive period of time, we could get you someplace where you could stay warm and receive a meal. We prepare for that. It's pretty much all we can do for blizzards. Lots you can do, that's pretty much all we can do. So we have severe thunderstorms, we have tornadoes, we have blizzards. Did you know we have an earthquake threat in Beaufort County? South Carolina is the 5th most active seismic state in the nation. You thought you moved from Mexico, got away from earthquakes? No, it didn't happen. How many earthquakes you think we've had in South Carolina in 2025? Give me a number. 15, 12. We're actually over 40 already. Most of them are centered in the upper part, in the middle part of the state. None of them have exceeded 2.1 on the Richter scale, but when it keeps shaking, eventually it will shake big time again. The last major earthquake was 2014. The last catastrophic earthquake with deaths and all of that was 1886. And it struck low country, destroyed 2,000 buildings, and killed 29 people in Charleston. Didn't kill anybody in Beaufort, but damaged and destroyed over 200 buildings. So we have an earthquake problem. We run earthquake drills. We run earthquake drills in emergency management. We run them with the emergency services, the fire departments, and all of this. And we also run earthquake drills through the schools in the fall. We do the tornadoes in the spring and the earthquake drills in the fall. Same thing, hoping the kids will go home and tell their parents that, hey, we did an earthquake drill today. Drop, cover, and hold on. Get on the ground, get under something solid that will protect your noggin, and hold on until the shaking stops. And that's what we're trying to instill upon them, and hopefully they'll pass that on to their parents. Man-made threats. We work with the military bases. We've got 3 military installations in this county. 2 of them like to go overseas and make other people's lives miserable, so it's possible that someone would want to come here and make our lives miserable. We work with them every day on force protection. We run drills and exercises with them regularly and with our staff so that if something should happen, we have prepared for it to the best of our abilities. So we're getting ready for man-made threats. We have major events in the county. We have a PGA golf tournament every year down Hilton Head. We have the air show at the air station, which is the biggest event the county hosts every 2 years. And we run all kinds of drills and exercises for that. The emergency management and the sheriff's office, so we're prepared for that. The one that I will not do is volcanoes. I ain't Tommy Lee Jones. We ain't got no volcano threat in South Carolina. We ain't got no volcano threat in Beaufort County. If one starts to bubble up on that putting green out there, I'm gone. I'm retired. My papers are already typed up. I just put the date in. Tell them, Sheriff, I'm done seeing you. You got the volcano. I don't do volcanoes. So the last one and the big one is tropical storms, tropical systems. We're in the season. The season is a day on the calendar. Out of the last 7 years, last 8 years, 6 of them had storms in May, named storms in May. We didn't get one this year, thankfully, but it's just a date on the calendar. The National Weather Service, NOAA, all those folks had to pick a date somewhere for awareness purposes, so they picked June 1, and it runs to November 30th. We have had a named tropical storm in January in the last decade. We have had a named tropical storm in November in the last decade. So that's just a date on the calendar for awareness purposes. What we do, give you a little bit of idea how it works. We're monitoring every day NOAA and the National Hurricane Center down in Miami. When they start watching something, we start watching it at Beaufort County and at the state level. If it becomes into an entity, a storm entity, and it looks like, the models look like it's going to point at the southeast coast, we start paying even closer attention. We start checking off our checklist. We have checklists for a week ahead of a storm, for 2 weeks ahead of a storm, and for a day ahead of a storm. We start working the checklist, making sure everything is where it should be, like it was a month ago when we tested. And then, as the storm becomes named and it starts really pointing at the southeast coast, Cantori and that bunch at the Weather Entertainment Channel will start getting really, really, really excited, right? And they'll throw up their big strains, and they'll be, it's going to do this, and it's going to do this, and it's going to do this. That's your cue to get ready, because they're getting excited. You won't see me doing that. You won't see Sheriff Tanner doing that, but you will see them. That's your cue to start getting ready. As the storm gets closer, we're in consultation with the National Weather Service Charleston. They take the Hurricane Center's information and they turn it into local impact for us. And we start working that. We call together the policy group, which is the mayors of all the municipalities, the chairman of the county council, county administrator, sheriff, and myself. And I brief them on what the situation is. We get the Weather Service to brief them on what the situation is. We reach consensus of what we need to do and we notify the governor through the state emergency management, hey, Beaufort County feels this way about this storm. And we'll do these conference calls daily, sometimes twice daily, up until well after the storm has passed. As that happens, you need to already have made your preparations. In fact, today is June 17th. The hurricane season started June 1st. You should have already made all your preparations. You should know where you're going to go. You should know where you're going to stay. Probably know where you're going to eat for at least the first couple of nights. You should know what you're going to take with you. So, the things you need to take are your insurance papers, your mortgages, your deeds, powers of attorney, anything like that that you would need to reconstruct your life the day after a catastrophic event. Oh, well, it's in the cloud. All my information's in the cloud. I don't see any clouds out there right now. Where is that information? And I'm being facetious. But where is that information? It's in a computer storage somewhere, which, depending on what service you use, may not even be in the United States. What Will just tell you about the internet service going down regularly? It happens. One contractor would have backhoe digging in the wrong spot, even though we went out there and painted it with big orange paint. Do not dig here. That's exactly where he's going to stick that bucket. And the internet goes down. And it may stay down for a while. And you cannot access that information. I was in North Carolina 2 weeks ago trying to buy gasoline on my Marine Corps Air Station credit card, and it kept denying my card. Wasn't wrong with my card. I had at least $20 in the bank. The problem was the internet was down at the bank's main computer system. And so it just wouldn't read it. I pulled out their credit card, got my gas, came home. That's danger of relying on it being in the cloud. So you have all these documents somewhere. Pull them together, if you have not already, in a little box so that you can grab it and go. That needs to be there all the time in that box. Your house catches fire. That's one thing you need to run out the door with. Did I say your spouse? Oh, that's kind of good. But one of you grab that box and go, because that's what you're going to need to reconstruct your life with. And that goes with you wherever you go. The governor orders an evacuation. Will said he calls for an evacuation. The governor orders an evacuation. It carries the weight of law. I can use some jewelry if you don't want to go. Not going to happen. All right. Start with, there's too many people that are not going to go that think they know everything. We can't arrest them all. But it carries the weight of law. That's how serious it is. So the governor orders the evacuation. Where are you going to go? If you haven't already planned this, sit down tonight and plan it. I recommend Atlanta, Nashville. They have enough hotels to absorb a great number of people. They have enough restaurants to feed a great number of people. They have some entertainment venues to entertain you while you're sitting there waiting for the storm to pass. You say, oh, well, I'll go to Aiken. Every hotel in Aiken, and there's only 4 or 5, are already booked up for a storm with emergency services personnel coming from the coast. The city of Augusta gets taken over by the city of Savannah. You're not going to happen. It's not going to happen. You're not going to get anything in Aiken. So you're going to have to go further. Atlanta, Nashville, far enough away, enough hotels, enough things to do. Plan that now. Pick out what hotel so that you have the phone numbers, the email addresses, the websites, all this kind of stuff. You know what it's going to involve to get there. Or maybe you want to go visit friends or family. That's great. That's cheaper, right? Maybe somebody you have reconnected with on Facebook. You might want to check that with your spouse first. Right? Oh, this is my old high school girlfriend. Probably not a good idea. But whatever works. The grandkids, the kids, whatever works. But plan it now. Already have yourself a little checklist. We're going to get out of here. We're going to do this. We're going to leave, not when the governor orders the evacuation, because when the governor orders the evacuation, this goes into effect. The evacuation routes. In Beaufort County alone, it takes over 300 law enforcement personnel to make this happen. We're on every key intersection, and we're doing this. And you say, but I live on Dataw. I want to go that way. Do you know who I am? Because we have to maximize the routes to the pavement. You came in here on Highway 21 when you moved in, right? You probably left at least once and gone out Highway 21 back at least to I-95, right? Did you see any alternate routes to get you to I-95? Ain't there, right? So we're going to point you this way, and what we're doing is across the state, we have 7 parallel routes from Myrtle Beach through Charleston to Hilton Head, and they take you to Interstate 20. In Myrtle Beach, they hit 20 in Florence. In Charleston, they hit 20 in Columbia, and for the lower region, the southern region, we hit 20 in Aiken, North Augusta, and Graniteville. And that's what we're going to do. Once the governor says, I am ordering an evacuation to begin at 8 a.m., you will go the way we tell you to go, all the way to I-20. Once you get 20, we don't care where you go. You can turn towards Atlanta, you can turn back driving mess in Columbia with the Charleston traffic coming in, or you can go cross country, go to Greenville, Spartanburg, and points west. But you're going to go the way we want you to. You say, well, you know, I really want to go visit the kids, and they're up in Pennsylvania. I need I-95 going. Then you're going to have to leave before the governor orders the mandatory evacuation. So once Cantori and that bunch start getting excited, and it's been named, and they start sending people towards the beaches down in Florida to start reporting from the beach. You've all seen it, right? You know there's a guy back there with a leaf blower. About 50%. They've been caught at that. You know that. They've been caught at that. They got caught in Wilmington during Florence doing that. Mike Slidell was standing there, and he was talking about the rain and the wind blowing. And these 2 guys were walking behind him, right behind him. Wasn't nothing going on. They were literally spraying him with water. They got credibility. Right? But if you want to go the way you want to go, you've got to leave before the governor orders it. So you've got to be watching all this and say, you know what? We're seeing preparations. We'll be sending out Mixel messages and Facebook messages. Prepare now. Get your checklist done. Be ready. A storm is possible in Beaufort County. This one, that's when you go. Most of you folks are probably retired, right? You're retired here, so you've got the ability to pretty much pick up and leave when you want to. So that's the advantage of that opportunity. And go on and get out and you go any direction you want to. Otherwise, you're going to follow us. And we don't care who you are. We don't care who you are. You're going out there. So keep that in mind. So once you get there, you know where you're going. You know what you're taking with you. Yes, ma'am?
I have a question regarding the route. So you're saying everything gets directed to 20. Is that all low country? Because if you're headed up 95 and want to go 26, is that only from everybody in Charleston on 26? Or?
Yes and no. Part of our traffic in Beaufort County is placed on I-95 north. Part of it. The bulk of it is sent west. If you get on I-95 north, you will not be allowed to exit at I-26 because they are reversing 26 and all 4 lanes are going west and you will not be allowed to exit. So you will be sent further north along I-95 to Florence. You might be allowed to exit in Florence and get on 20 and go back. To avoid that, leave early. Leave before the mandatory. Once the mandatory order goes in place, you're going exactly where we tell you. And if we put you on 95, you're not going to be allowed to get off. And you say, well, you know what? I'm looking at my map here, and I'll get off at St. George at exit 77, and I'll take Highway 76 west. Well, 76 parallels 26, right? But every crossroads you come to will not be staffed by law enforcement, and it will be people doing the same thing, and it'll be stormed. Because we're not staffing those intersections. We're staffing our primary routes. We don't care about those secondary routes. They can be stormed because we have put together a very comprehensive plan that works. We've used it. We've done it. We've exercised it, and we've done it for real. And it works. And we're not going to staff those secondary roads. So if you want to go 95 north, go before the mandatory order takes effect. Yes, ma'am?
What about taking 16 west to Atlanta?
We got the same thing. We do not send anything south. We don't allow anything to get on 95 south. Because Savannah's doing the same thing. If we're leaving, they're leaving. And they're using 16, and we have an agreement between the state of South Carolina and the state of Georgia that we will not put anything on 95 south to go into their mess. We're going where we want you to go. Parallel to get you west. Right? So, You want to go where you want to go, leave early. Yes, sir.
So what's the chance that if you leave Dataw, you might end up on 95 North?
Depends on what lane you're in when you get there, when you get to Hotel. It's all about which lane you study the routes, because we're diversifying the routes as best we can, utilizing every bit of concrete and asphalt we've got. And depending on what lane you're in, and I can get in the weeds here. If you're on Highway 21 going through town and you're in the right lane, when you get to Gardens Corner, we're going to turn you right. We're going to send you up to Green Pond. We're going to turn you left on 303. You're going to go to Waldeboro. You can get on 95 north of Waldeboro. If you're in the left lane, we're going to put you on 17 south, and it will expand into 2 lanes. And when you get out to Pocatello, if you're in the right lane, we're going to turn you right. We're going to send you up and on 21 alternate, and we're going to put you on 68 and send you west on 68 to intercept 278 in Barnwell. And if you're in the left lane, we're going to send you up to Point South and put you on I-95 north to exit 33. That's in the weeds. But that's how we're diversifying it so that we can bleed it off and try to keep everything pushing west.
Thank you.
So the goal is leave before the mandatory order. You go where you want to. Yes, sir.
How good is your information as far as figuring out when the McMaster's going to make a decision?
Very good.
So do you normally put out, if you want to go the way you want to go, you better leave today?
Mm-hmm. That we do. We will be putting that information out, folks. If you want to leave, yes, we will do that. We will not usurp the governor's authority and say, hey, he's going to do it at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Right.
Other people will, but we won't. But yes, we will be putting out advisory notices. The sheriff and I will be doing a press conference this work before live press conference feed to get over Facebook and live streaming and traditional media, saying, folks, if you want to go, now's the time to go. This is going to be an impactful event. We believe it to be. You need to go now. So yes, sir. You'll get fair warning.
When did that start?
You already have one question.
Sorry. So when did that start? Because in the last, when was the closest hurricane that came near us? What was the last one?
Year before last? We didn't have anything yet last year that, yeah, we had Gabby and Helene last year.
So I don't remember seeing anything on the news.
Because we didn't, because the impact here was not predicted to be severe enough to warrant evacuation. So we don't want to do skies falling when it's not.
Yeah, okay.
Right? We save those bullets for when we need them. Yes, ma'am.
I could say I've been here for 4 of them, starting with Matthew and 4 years in a row, and there was always ample time to get out ahead of time. And I asked security one time, so, okay, do you think I should leave at 5? He said, no, leave earlier. I set the alarm for 2:30. I was out of here at 3 in the morning.
I'm getting that early message.
Please. We get off track. We get out rabbit holes here. We won't be able to. So, you get out of here. You go where you're going to go. You know where you're going to go. You've made those decisions. You get there. And how do you pay attention to coming back? We'll talk about, y'all got some internal sources. Those are good. Everbridge is good. Also, before you leave here, pick up one of these little yellow cards. They're up here on the table. You haven't already got one. There's a handful up here. And what they are is they are the Sheriff's Office Hurricane Hotline. It is 833-254-6400. And you dial it today, it'll say you've reached the Hurricane Hotline, there's nothing going on. When there's an event occurring, we will put a pre-recorded message on there. And it will, when you dial it in, it will say, if you live in unincorporated Beaufort County, press 1, which y'all do. If you live in unincorporated Beaufort County, press 1. And we will have updated information on there of what the situation is. We'll update it as need be. It might be every 6 hours, it might be every 3 hours. If it's really changing rapidly, it might be every hour. And then City of Beaufort would press 2, Port Royal press 3, and all of them have the opportunity. If you want to listen to them, you can, just know what they're doing. You can listen to that. You can call as many times as you want to. It's also for you folks that came from Mexico. We've got it in Spanish on the back. And the number back there is 833-254-6400. Didn't know I was bilingual, did you? So you can do that, and you can keep up with it. You can follow our Facebook, you can follow the Nixle Everbridge, you can follow the Sheriff's Office social media, you can follow Dataw social media, the local television stations, TOC and SAB and this bunch. Watch them. They will give you good local information that they gathered from valid sources. When you start following this off-the-wall stuff like Mike's weather and all kinds of craziness, like the guy, I think Mike's the guy that has the donkey. Think about that. I'm taking my weather information from a guy whose symbol is a donkey. Right? Think about that. Do I really want to trust this? And then be patient. When you leave here, if the governor has ordered a mandatory evacuation, and the sheriff and I have gone and said, folks, this is predicted, this is forecast to be severe impacts. When you leave here, be prepared to be gone 10 days. That's the minimum. You live on a small island. You are connected by a causeway to another small island, which is connected by, that's Palawana, you didn't know that's an island, which is connected by another causeway to St. Helena Island, which is a fairly large sea island. And that's connected by a bridge to Ladies Island, which is connected by a bridge to Port Royal Island. You get where I'm going? We got a lot of issues to resolve before we can get you back to Dataw. And so we've got to make sure. First thing we have to have is we have to have a functioning emergency room. We have 3 hospitals that service Beaufort County. We have Beaufort Memorial, we have Hilton Head, and we have Coastal Carolina and Hardyville. Hilton Head and Coastal sit in flood zones. They will flood on small events. Their parking lots will flood on small events. Beaufort Memorial is a little higher, but the access to it is challenging. They will all 3 evacuate the patients ahead of the storm, and they will all 3, Hilton Head evacuates all its staff, Coastal evacuates all its staff, they turn out the lights and lock the doors. Beaufort Memorial keeps a small skeleton staff there, but they're not taking patients. So we have to wait until they notify us that we are ready to take trauma patients. Because here's what's going to happen when this wind quits blowing. We're going to have trees down everywhere, we're going to have power lines down everywhere, some of them are still energized. People are going to get out there, they went down to Graco, they bought that Poulan chainsaw before the storm started. Ain't never run a chainsaw in their life. And they're going to get out there in the yard because there's a tree laying across their house. An 80-foot pine is now across their house. And they're going to get out there in their flip-flops and their shorts. And they're going to crank up there. The tree is 28 inches diameter. And they got a 14-inch saw there. First problem. Ding, 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 ding. And they said, well, I got to get these limbs off here. Oh, wing. You do not run a chainsaw over your head. Ever. I don't care, the best experts in the world will do it. In Matthew, it happened in Beaufort County, and it kicked back like chainsaws will do, and it traumatically amputated the person at the shoulder. And they were lucky to survive. The hospital was not open yet. The emergency room was not open yet. Storm hit Friday night, Saturday morning. Hospital was able to reopen on Monday. We had to put them in an ambulance on Sunday morning and take them by ambulance 100 miles to Orangeburg, which was the nearest hospital accepting patients.
What about the Naval Hospital?
They don't have an emergency room. They're clinics. They're a big empty building now. That's all they are. Naval Hospital's not even in the game anymore. So we will not open the county at any level until the hospitals tell us we're ready to take patients. Beaufort Memorial may say we're ready, and we'll open up northern part of the county. Hilton Head is not ready. You will not be able to get to Hilton Head. Coastal Carolina is not ready. You won't be able to go to Bluff. We have to bring this back slowly. What it's important to understand, no one in this county, unless they were here in 1959, has seen a major impact of a storm. That was the last major impact, was 1959 Gracie. Everything we've seen since then has been brush by and minor events. If we take a catastrophic event, we could be weeks before we can start fully reopening. We may be able to open sections. We've got to get the power lines off the road. Am I that bad that you're running out on me? She's not even going to answer me. You're not going to win. You're not going to win the prize. Go ahead. See you later. So there will be times. So you need to be prepared to be gone. And then when you come back, We're not going to open you back up to the county you left. You may well come back. If we've had to do this, if we've had to close the county and implement the catastrophic plan and all this, you will come back to a county that does not have electricity. The stoplights won't be working. I went to South Florida after Andrew, the street signs were gone. And the only way first responders knew where they were at, they took cans of spray paint and went out to each street corner, compared it with their paper maps, and painted the names of the streets in the intersections so they would know where they were, and the block numbers. You could easily come back to that. Our goal is to get you back as soon as we can to see your homes. Dataw and a number of the other communities have plans to put pictures up on social media, just ride through the neighborhoods and take pictures. We will do the same thing at the Sheriff's Office. We'll be regurgitating what they send us. We have a very good relationship with all the security companies in the county, and they'll be sending us information, and we'll be putting it up so you can stay where you're at safely and start looking at these pictures and say, this is pretty bad. This is pretty bad. And then eventually they'll be able to get to your home and give you an idea of what your home looks like. What if the causeway, you know that nice little pretty bridge you cross, what if it's washed out by the storm path? You can't get here. Until that's rebuilt, you can't get here. That won't happen in a day. It won't happen in a month. It'll take a while. And they will probably lay a temporary bridge that you may or may not want to drive over. So be prepared for this. If you're prepared for this mentally, then you're in good shape. Because you'll say, all right, if my home is destroyed, I'm going to do this. Some folks say, you know what, if I lose my home, I'm moving. I'm not coming back to hurricane country. Others say, I love it in Beaufort County, and I'm going to rebuild. And I'm prepared to rebuild. I'm going to change this and this. I'm going to remodel this. We'll rebuild. Make these decisions now when you're not under stress, and they're a lot easier to live with. You come back and your home is destroyed. Where will I stay? Oh, well, I'll go to a room in a hotel downtown at the Hilton Garden. Booked, I promise you. Because we reserve at least a floor when the storm starts. All right? For our people to have a place to be that's right across the street from our office. So be prepared that, hey, you know what? I may be driving in from Columbia every day just to check on my stuff and see what's going on and work through my problems. But if you prepare for this now, then you're in good shape. And you say, you know what? Colonel Baxley is very depressing, and I'm just not going to leave. How many doctors have I got in the room? No doctors. How many nurses do I have in the room? Oh, I got one. I got two. All right, folks, three. Identify these folks. Because when that tree crashes through your house and pins you in there and breaks your leg, or breaks all your ribs, or gives you coronary problems, and then the alligator comes out of the pond looking for some drier ground, and he comes up through the living room, which is now wide open, you're going to call the nurses to deal with the broken leg and the heart problems. Because as Will said, during the storm, we do not respond. We are not Superman. Our vehicles are not impervious to the damage. We run to shelter so that we're part of the solution afterwards. During Matthew, we had 2 people pass away during the storm. They had severe medical issues, could not be evacuated by their families, and they passed away during the storm. And both families sat there with them for better than 16 hours until we could get to them. Back to life. We could, and part of it was we couldn't get to it once the wind stopped blowing because of all the trees down. We had to cut our way into it. And this was a tropical storm. This was not a Category 3 event. This was a tropical storm. So prepare for that now mentally. Prepare for it physically. I'm going to get out of here because there ain't no doctors on Dataw. Ain't nobody going to help me. Dataw doesn't have a fire department. Chief already told you he's going to lock the gate. So you're trapped in here. You can't get out. And we got a key, and fire department's got a key. Fire department's got a great big red key. And I got a 10,000-pound winch on the front of my truck that will pull it the other way. But we're not coming to you until the event's over. And so get out of here. You're safe. Go somewhere safe. Just wait. Houses can be rebuilt. But prepare yourself mentally now. I'm not going to ride this event out. I'm not going to defy the experts, the real experts, the true experts, the National Weather Service, the National Hurricane Center, those folks. I'm not going to defy them. I'm going to take their instructions. I'm going to take the governor's orders, and I'm going to pack up and I'm going to leave, and I'm going to come back and we'll rebuild and we'll have a good time after it's over. And there's no guarantee that one storm won't be followed by another. Florida, 2008, had 4 storms crisscross the state in 6 weeks. Devastating storm, built a mess down there afterwards. No guarantee that will happen to us. We hope we would only have to deal with 1, but there's no guarantee we wouldn't have 2. Last year we had 2, we had Debbie and Helene. Neither one major impacts, but we had impacts. So now, once you've prepared, you've gone, you follow the Everbridge, you follow the phone number, you follow the established social media, the good stuff, you made a decision to come back, rebuild. What kind of help am I going to get in rebuild? That's where your insurance comes in. FEMA is not in the business and never has been in the business of helping people that had insurance. Never has been. Oh, well, my insurance just cost me $1,000 a month. I'll cancel my insurance and just let FEMA. FEMA has a cap. They'll give you $35,000. What can you replace on your home with $35,000 in a month? The garage, maybe? They have a cap. And that is changing. If you're following the news, that is changing. FEMA is getting out of that business. And they've been hinting at this for several years, and it's rapidly happening this year. We don't anticipate a lot of support. FEMA's, they have been good for providing money to governments to recover, to rebuild that bridge we're talking about, to rebuild those school buildings, that sort of thing. They're backing out of that too. So we don't know what to expect going forward from them. So it's on us to be prepared. It's on us to have good insurance and be ready. Governments have a rainy day fund to be able to fill that gap that in the past has been handled by FEMA. That's where we're at. And once you come back, we'll rebuild and we'll rock on. It may take months. It may take years. Down in Florida, there's still blue tarps on roofs from 2 years ago. Michael was 3 years ago. On roofs, I think that in Mexico Beach, just happened to rebuild. So it could be a while. But again, if you have prepared yourself mentally, you understand it's going to take time, it's not going to happen tomorrow, then we're in good shape. Now I'll take questions. And ma'am, I'll take you first. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so if we don't live on our floor, obviously we'd be gone, but what do you need to come back? At what point can you come back to the island, or even if Beaufort County, do you have to have a bill or something that you can show to get into?
If we have set up the roadblocks and taken catastrophic damage, anything that shows your connection, a utility bill, a deed, your driver's license may or may not have the Dataw address, but a utility bill with the Dataw address, at that point will be all you need.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Say I do get in the right lane to get onto I-95 north, which is where I want to go.
Okay.
I want to get off in Florence. I don't care that they have it blocked for everybody else. I have a house in Florence
Okay.
that I want to go to with my husband and the cat.
Okay.
How can I do that?
In Florence, there will be ways to get off before you get to I-20. Earlier exits. You kind of cut through Timmonsville down to Sardis, Timmonsville down to that area. Yes, ma'am. Get off early and just have some proof. Just like this young
I
lady
see something in my glove compartment now.
that has that address on it.
A water bill or
Yes, ma'am.
some kind of bill. for
Yeah.
Florence.
And if they have a roadblock set up, show that I live at this address, it's a mile up the road, and they'll push you through.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I have a lithium battery golf cart, and I understand saltwater and lithium batteries don't go well together. My battery or cart is parked at 5 feet above sea level. If I'm evacuating, do I park it in the driveway to avoid burning the house down?
Probably. That's probably a better idea because saltwater lithium, you're right. And so anything you can do to mitigate that danger is probably not going to be stolen because again, everybody's going to leave. Yeah, it's probably going to get destroyed outside, but it won't start a fire and burn the house down. And you would hate to come home and that be the reason you lost your home was the golf cart. Yeah, move it outside, just risk losing it.
Or take your lithium battery out and stick the battery outside.
Yeah, just stick a battery outside. I don't know enough about this. I know we worked a car wreck at Sandsport Road about a month ago with an electric vehicle, and about 8 of us from the fire department, sheriff's office couldn't find the battery in that car. Turned out the battery was part of the car, and we'd never seen it before. We were trying to disconnect the battery to prevent a fire, so I don't know enough about those. Other questions? Yes, ma'am.
Will you shut off the water to the house at the street?
Shut off the water to the house.
We tell you because if it's real bad, Beaufort Jasper's gonna shut the water off the island anyway, as we did for Matthew, I believe it was, Colonel. They shut off the water to Fripp Island, Harbor. I don't know if Dataw was experienced that at the time, but they actually shut the water off for all those islands.
And the reason they do that is they have exposed water mains underneath bridges. They're suspended from the bridge, and they would rather turn the water off and have that suspended line get torn open and dump nothing, as opposed to gushing millions of gallons out that we would need later. So they will shut all that down and then re-inspect it before they turn it back on. Other questions? Yes?
Propane tanks, the big propane tanks we have, I guess they have a shut-off valve, but these hoses that go to the house, if that tank was to fall over.
You would want to shut it off because after Matthew, I go back to Matthew because I went out to Fripp and Harbor. We found propane tanks from houses literally 7-8 blocks away.
They float.
They basically floated away. So I would shut it off and don't think you're going to come back to your generator running. Because if you're not back in 10 days, I can almost guarantee that generator's still not running in 10 days.
Yes, sir.
What's the current thinking on clearance things in the yard and the deck and whatnot?
Secure it up somehow, some way where it's not going to blow. A lawn chair in a 90-mile-an-hour wind becomes a missile. It will go through the side of a wood side of the house, and it will go through it. 2x4, a rake would kill someone. Launches and it hits them in the chest, it would kill them. There's lots of YouTube videos you can see where they've done experiments with different objects in high winds. Secure everything you can secure the best way you can. I know folks with swimming pools like to drop it all in the bottom of the pool. It's not a bad idea. As long as you're willing to risk corrosion or whatever goes with it, but secure everything outdoors. Otherwise, you will lose it, and it will probably damage something, if not yours, somebody else's. Other questions? Okay, hearing none. Everybody got a blue ticket? Does anyone not have a blue ticket? Not that hand back here doesn't have a blue ticket. So when we started off early on, we talked about communication, potential for failures, and all that. There are a couple very reliable opportunities, and so we'd like to thank everyone for coming by doing a little door prize. This is a Midland weather alert radio. It's battery operated and it's plugged up, and it's pre-tuned to the National Weather Service frequencies. All you got to do is turn it on. There's very easy instructions. Basically, all you have to do is turn it on. And if we have a tornado warning, it will scream. It will wake you up. This monster is loud. If we have any other type of emergency, it will scream and wake you up. During a hurricane event, it will wake you up every time a new alert goes out. So it is very noisy. So we bought these on a federal grant last year. That grant is no longer available to us. But it was your federal tax dollars going to Washington coming back to us. So we purchased a bunch of these to give away at these events, because we do about 50 of these events a year. So I need a nonpartisan.
Are you coming back?
I
I don't have a ticket, so we're can't pick my own.
Big B.
All right, I gotta go one.
All right, she got to go. She got the only blue one in the batch. 340-5763. 5763. All right, nobody's got 5763? All right. Probably the lady that left. Look at her talk to me when she went out the door. Oh my goodness. That hurt. All right. Yes, I do. I have my glasses in my pocket. Yes. 5758. 5758. Did you give way out? Did you? All right, we'll do it again. We'll get there. Well, 3 people did leave.
That's what they did.
All right. 5764. Hey! We have one. not a raffle. This is a door prize giveaway. Raffles are illegal in South Carolina. Thank you very much.
Phone number, I'll call you every time it wins.
And no, I've got one. I know it every time it goes on. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
This is a question, actually, I guess, for security.
Yes, ma'am.
When a mandatory evacuation has been given,
Yes, ma'am.
hopefully most of us are gone, but does Dataw have any kind of formal exiting of the island, like inner island leaves that, has to leave by a certain time?
No, we're hoping that you leave prior
Obviously.
to the evacuation order. It's just going to be 3 months. You're going to get onto Dataw Drive and come out the gate. We will go around if there's a mandatory evacuation over the loudspeaker and advise, hey, Dataw has issued the governor has mandated an evacuation, and we actually leave. We will also be putting out on that Beaufort SC News that I talked about earlier. So go to the webpage, go under governance, go to security. There's several tabs there. Click on that. It also shows you, if you read through how to get into Everbridge, it gives you a text number. It tells you to text this number from your phone, and it'll send it back, and you'll basically download the app on there. We will be putting everything out on that, and we'll also be sending out the campaigns as usual. It'll usually be coming from myself or from Ted Bartlett, saying that, hey, this is what we're planning to do, this is what we're here to do. Now, when we come back on the island, for us, the security and grounds maintenance, we are going to clear certain areas first and open them up. Just because Beaufort County says you can come back, doesn't mean you can come back to Dataw. The general manager, Ted Bartlett, has to issue that because they might be able to clear us in and get us in, and we're still clearing up areas. Just because we are on an island, the bridge might be down, so we're trying to find a temporary bridge to be put in place. So please check those pages on that Beaufort SC News. It's right on that security page in the hurricane section. And look for your emails. We will do our best to get out emails. Cellular service, unless it's really bad, we'll probably have some cell service in a day or two, unless it's really bad and blows down the cell towers. But we will get out the information as best as we can, especially if we evacuate also from the island. Because we'll be having to try to get back to the island. Now, we have passes that the sheriff's office has issued us. There are tiered passes who can come back in the county first, second, third. So we will utilize them so we can get back in sooner to get you back in quicker.
We tried phased evacuations in Hugo in 1989. Nobody listened to us. So we tanked that plan. Yes, ma'am.
Well, you told us to go to the computer, to the Dataw site, and go to security.
Yes.
It's not on our phones on the Dataw site.
On Dataw.com, our webpage.
Your webpage.
And did you log in as a?
Yeah, that's me. I should, it doesn't show up. I can't be.
Okay, Susan, you may be looking at the app. The app is a much scaled down version of the website. The full website has the pages Will's speaking about. Also, you can actually skip the member login website portion of it and go straight to BeaufortSCNews.com.
Yeah, so if you go home on your computer, go to www.dataw.com. It's going to ask you for your member number, then your password. That's why I said make sure you remember your member number and password. So when you go to another computer, and then it has all that information on there under the governance section. I know what you're talking about, the web page, and I have the same thing. I cannot get into the security side of the house for that. On the app.
Other questions? Yes, sir.
I think last year we talked briefly about, there's a law in place now where the hotels can't gouge you, they have to take you with your pets.
The law doesn't address the pets, but more and more hotels are becoming pet friendly. The law does address the price gouging, and it's very specific on. They're going to jack the price. During Matthew, we found Columbia hotels doubling their room rates, and that's kind of what prompted the legislature to enact the law. They're allowed some leeway in changing. But it has to be within a percentage, if I remember right, a percentage of what they were charging a week before the event, right? But Carolina had a home game the same weekend that Matthew was striking, and they were planning to go ahead with the ball game, and they were jacking the rates up. A normal $150 night was something like $500 a night. It was nuts. So, but there are laws in place, especially to address gasoline sales, food sales, and hotels. The pets, that's still up to management, but more and more hotels are becoming pet friendly.
South Carolina, does that apply to if we go to Atlanta?
Georgia has gouging laws also. Yes, they do, from the same event. Matthew was an eye-opener for a lot of legislatures.
Thank you.
Other questions? Yes?
This is a little bit in the weeds, but there may be some other people that have this issue. You know, there's some assisted living facilities here in town, like Helena Square, and we have friends or relatives that they live there. Assuming we don't leave early for some unknown reason, right? I couldn't get my wife out of that, whatever. If we follow this map, we'll swing right by there. I have a mother that, will I be allowed to pick her up and get back on 21 and get out of here? The worst case scenario, if I don't leave early.
Yes. Yes, we're not controlling ingress, egress off of side streets in the county. You may have to wait, go to signalized intersections, work your plan. But that facility has a plan. The law requires in South Carolina that every assisted living facility have a plan. They have to submit it to emergency management. We review it, make any suggestions, and then they have to submit it to DHEC, or what used to be called DHEC. And so they have a plan to take your relative, your friends, whatever, to a secure location well upstate. You might want to sit down with management and ask about the plan. And then you might want to let them make that transport rather than you, because they're prepared for it and they're prepared for it at the other end.
Yeah.
Because normally they're taking them to other assisted living facilities up there that are ready to handle folks with whatever challenges they might bring. And then you plan your evacuation to coincide with going to the same community.
Thanks for that recommendation.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
So that plan for said community where he's referring, is that updated every year as a requirement?
Yes. I had a facilities plan on my desk this morning for review there.
So it's yearly updated?
Yes, they send us one. They have to update it every year. And what we have to see in that plan, we have to see what their transportation plan is, how they're going to move those folks. We have to see where they're going. We have to see an agreement with that facility so that we know it's real. And they have all learned that the liability of not having the plan is way more expensive than having the plan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Other questions? And hearing none, Chief, I'll turn it back to you, sir.
Thank you, Colonel. Just to clear up confusion there, if you have the app on your phone, you can go to the Dataw.com from your computer or log in from your phone. The gentleman up here did it from his phone and logged in, and it pulled up a full web page. Or Beaufort SC News, you can download that, but it's all on that hurricane page. Everything, you got documents on there, you can click everything like that. Like I said, that document over here is on there. Click through, you can see what we're clearing the roads first to get you back on the island. But please listen to trusted sites. Do not, like the Colonel said, go to Mike's weather page or go to your friends on Facebook who live around the corner or on Fripp and say, "Oh, it's all good over here, come on back." It's not. The devastation we saw over Matthew was real. Saw houses knocked down on Harbor Island. I talked to a gentleman that rode his bike across the bridge when we got there, and he said he'll never do it again. He said the noises his house made, it swelled and contracted. He said it was terrible. He said he don't even know why he stayed. He was 1 block off the beach. So, if you got any questions for us, let us know. And thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much.